Okay, I think we can start right now, and we will see more participants over time. So, hello everybody. My name is Konstantin Artemyev. I am the head of Sherpa Robotics with our product Sherpa RPA, robotic automation platform. And the main topic of our today's webinar is how we can use robots to make other robots. So what we will cover in this webinar. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about the main trends of RPA industry, which are connected with artificial intelligence, because everyone is now very fond of using artificial intelligence almost everywhere, and RPA industry is not different. And everybody sees a huge potential synergy between RPA and artificial intelligence, and more specifically between RPA and large language models. But the main question is how to make this to life, how to make this further than just some proofs of concept. So we will talk about this. Then we will talk about how artificial intelligence and Chat GPT-like technologies can improve speed and quality of RPA bots development. Why is it so? So we see a lot of cases, and we applied a lot of cases where when Chat GPT and other neural networks are used inside RPA process to fulfill some particular user's task, yes, to make some process happen. And this greatly improves our possibility to automate different user cases that we couldn't automate in before times where we had no such a cool technology. However, we also can use artificial intelligence and large language models to improve the process of development of RPA robots themselves. So we really should make ChatGPT and other technologies help not only our clients, but we should make them help ourselves as well as RPA robot developers. And this is what will be the main topic of this webinar. So we integrated a lot of different smart assistants. I think now we have 9 of them inside our RPA Studio, and we call it Designer, RPA Designer. And let's see how these smart assistants can improve the whole RPA development process, productivity. Then we'll present 2 different approaches of artificial intelligence powered RPA development. The first approach is to use GPT to help us create processes by prompting, and maybe create the whole robot just by prompting. And then everything else will be the same. Just we debug it, we run it as a deterministic process. And there is the other approach, completely different. We can try to skip robotic process part of this workflow and make processless robots run instantly just from a single user prompt and go and do what user asked. This is completely other approach, but it's also very interesting. So here in Sherpa RPA, we are developing both of these approaches because both of them have a very great value for further RPA development. We will show a live demo of one of these approaches on the example of our platform, and I'm sure that other RPA other RPA platforms will soon show something similar. Yes, because this is some idea that that is above us in a thin air, and I think everybody thinks how to make this happen, but the devil is in a great little details of how this really works. Yes, and our experiments proved that both approaches are very huge success. So all of you who are now watching this webinar can get instant early access to a process generator. So this is the exact tool we use to create processes, so robotic scripts, just by a simple text prompt. And you can try it right today. We will give you the downloading link. We will give you the license key so you can test it, and you can have all of our guidance to evaluate this cool technology right now. And then if this is already today's day of RPA technology, so we can't say that this is tomorrow of RPA. This is the present day because we already made it. So what will be the future day, the next day of RPA? How will the future of artificial intelligence powered RPA development look like? So we will be like a visionaries here, yes, and let's look into very nearest future to see how we can evolve as RPA industry. So let's start. Almost 3 years ago, I carried out other webinar, and here is a slide back from that old webinar from 2021. And I showed some trends about what we will see in the nearest future there. There are some obvious trends that everybody of you know, and you see it right now that it already happened and everybody uses this. So this is like hyper automation, this is like OCR and vision technologies. So this is extensive use of man-in-the-loop technology. RPA developers already a cool promising profession. But there were two predictions that were not making great enthusiasm from my visitors, because they thought, okay, hyper automation is understandable, man-in-the-loop is understandable, but you say that robot will be able to create other robot itself? Wow, no way. How can this happen at all? Maybe in 10 years and in 20 years, but definitely not now, not in closest years. So 2 years passed, and we really see these two technologies are much, much closer to us than we could predict. Thanks to Chat GPT, thanks to advances in other large language model technologies we see now. So let's explore how does it look like. A week ago, I carried out other webinar where I showed how RPA as hands can use Chat GPT as the brain to enhance user workflows, user scripts, user processes in particular use cases. So in this pairing, Chat GPT and RPA work together at runtime. So when the robot is already deployed and somewhere inside robotic process, we call Chat GPT, we call embeddings, and perform some thinking, yes, some content generation, some reasoning, and get back to RPA process, to traditional RPA process, and go along our workflow. But what we will be talking today is the situation when Chat GPT is not side by side with RPA, but Chat GPT is inside RPA development process, inside Studio, inside Designer, and it helps not only end user, but it helps developer to create robotic process. So before we go deep into this detail, let me have a quick overview about our platform for those of you who might be not quite familiar with it. So our platform consists of traditional robotic automation. It has orchestration, it has process discovery, it has chatbots capabilities, it has built-in artificial intelligence and machine learning. It has a lot of cool OCR, IDP, NLP stuff, native integrations, and so on. So we can start with a workflow designer with visual language, similar to a lot of other RPA platforms, but we can also use not only no-code approach, but also low-code approach, because we support includings of C#, Visual Basic, PowerShell, and Python codes inside the visual flow of robotic process. So we create robotic processes in Sherpa Designer, Then we run them in Sherpa Robot, and Sherpa Robot can be both attended and unattended. So we control them using Sherpa Orchestrator, and our analytics can use our Sherpa process discovery to find new business processes inside companies suitable for robotic automation, document them, create PDDs, process design documents, and then pass this to a robotic developer, so he will implement this process. So some quick numbers to give you an impression about what is Sherpa RPA for our clients. We save more than 1 million work hours in 2022 for our clients, and we have more than 350 clients from SMEs and from enterprise. These are banks, the insurances, telecoms, logistics, internet companies, and a lot of other types of industries. And I want to mention that more than 100 of these 350 clients are transferred to our platform from other RPA platforms such as UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere. And for UiPath and Blue Prism, we have tools that help to automatically migrate those projects to our platform. And we have more than 5,000 robots deployed so far. We present citizen developer-friendly designer, but with rich professional capabilities. So everything you can do in other top RPA platforms, you can do this with our platform as well, in a quite simple, quite handy view like this. Flowchart mode, and we have about 500, more than 500 ready blocks or activities, if you prefer, that can be used in workflows. These activities help you work with Word, Excel, other Office processes, with web browsers, with desktop emulation, with artificial intelligence, with with OSR capabilities, with direct requests to sites, and a lot of other things. About 2 years ago, we started to implement artificial intelligence tools inside our platform. First, we added AI and ML palette, yes, which consisted of blocks like train and prediction models, train classification models, train clustering models, train anomaly detection models, and all these models can be trained and then executed, used inside your process, the RPA process, and all of these models work offline. So you do not use any cloud for this task. This can be done directly in your computer. Then we added some NLP capabilities, so like working with lemmas, extracting parts of speech, extracting named entities, and so on. And once ChatGPT and other GPT-like models appeared, we immediately added their support into our platform as well. So right now we can pick a block called prompt ChatGPT or prompt GPT model, and use this request from within your process automation. We also added support of embeddings as a very powerful tool for creating smart assistants based on ChatGPT and on other GPT models. We added tokenizer, and we added support of vector databases. Of course, we already had support of chatbots for different messaging platforms. Then we moved further. Last year, we added Smart Assistant into our expressions editor. So it's a place where you can type an expression as input for any block property. And you can type something like you see on screenshot, how to get file extension by file name. For example, you don't know this, yes? Just type it, your question or your request, and the system gives you an example how you can do it, and you can use this expression right away inside your block properties. Yes, and this way you shouldn't go to documentation anymore. Yes, shouldn't search for help, shouldn't search for forums, yes, to get answer to your question, how to do this or how to do that. Just type this question and immediately you will get a hint on what is the best way to do this expressions editor. Then we have a regular expressions generator, which allows you to create and test regular expressions right inside Studio. And we added Smart Assistant into it, so you can make regular expression by hand, or you can just ask our platform to create it for you. Just you see on the screen, I asked it for regexp to validate email in .com and .org zones. Click it on send, and I got the template for regular expression that does exactly what I asked, and you can test it with your own data right inside this window. As I mentioned earlier, we have not only visual workflows, but we also have an ability to insert blocks like execute C# code, execute Visual Basic code, execute Python code inside our processes. And then we added Smart Assistant into these code editors as well. So you may just type, like you see on screen, get the list of computers in local network and put them into processes list, but only if the name of computer is not contained in exceptions list. And processes list and exceptions list are variables from our main flowchart. So we created these variables in our flowchart beforehand. And our Smart Assistant knows this. He knows that these are not some new variables, but we already used them in our workflow, and he will reuse them and attach this C# variable or Visual Basic variable or Python variable to the appropriate variable from the main workflow, from the visual workflow, and generate this snippet of code to accomplish what you asked for. So let's move next. One of the very cool features of our platform is built-in intellectual document processing. This is what is called IDP, but also it's OCR, NLP, named entity recognition there, so a complex of several technologies which help you to understand and extract data from different structured and unstructured documents like invoices, like checks, like agreements, yes, and a lot of other types. So this tool allows to detect the type of document, if the document was scanned or photographed, yes, not very straight, it will correct rotations, it will correct skews, it will identify where are tables in the document, where are attributes in the document, it will perform segmentation, table extraction. Then if you have smart visual templates created for this document, you will find the best matching template and extract it. It will also detect signatures, barcodes, QR codes, stamps, and extract a lot of other typical data types. And also, a large part of this feature can work offline, as in isolated environment. It will not use any cloud solutions. But what we added Smart Assistant to this tool as well, and we called it Auto IDP. So our templates are very cool. They can be created very quickly. I mean, the templates to extract particular data from fields, from tables, and so on. But the problem is, if you have a lot of different types of documents, like you have maybe 1,000 or several thousands of contracts, yes, of companies you work with, and you need, and all their documents are very unique. So one document doesn't look like other document. You have to create a lot of such visual templates to extract data from each of these types of documents, for which of the companies you work with. So what our smart assistant does here, our auto IDP feature, he automatically creates such visual templates by a single copy, by a single example of a document. So if you worked previously with some other intellectual OCR tools, like, for example, Google, yes, document understanding, or Microsoft Azure, yes, or Smart OCR, and some other tools, you know that there is a quite difficult and time-consuming process of labeling your data. So you should upload several examples of the same type of document. Then you should label them by hand. So this is sum, this is item name, this is totals, and so on. And this takes a lot of time. It takes maybe several hours for each new type of document, and even after you do this, the percent of error is quite significant. If you work with very complex document, the percent of error can be 30% or even more. Templating solves this problem because templates are more stable way of extracting data from documents, but templates take time to create as well. So here we combine these two approaches. We take the best part of the pure ML approach and the best part from templating approach. So we still have templates for each new type of document, but most of this template will be created automatically by just one click of button. But if you see any error in the created template, you can still correct it by hand. And do not bother uploading a lot more examples and labeling them, which once again consumes a lot of time. Some other examples of how our templating engine processes invoices and other types of documents. Okay, then it will be 6, yes, or 7 smart assistant. Okay, then we added a feature to work with embeddings inside documents. So you know the ChatGPT can answer its huge knowledge interface, everything which is contained in the internet actually, but it doesn't know anything about your company, about your documents, about your balances, your agreements, your applications, your knowledge bases, your notes. And you definitely want robot ChatGPT to know all of this without passing it to cloud. What our embeddings functionality does, it can index all your documents and all your knowledge bases, all your emails, all your notes, and store this smart vector index into the vector storage, and then ChatGPT and other large language models will answer you on your documents, on your data, and not something which is contained in the internet. And this we have sample projects like chat with your own documents. So once you install our platform, you can test it yourself. And we also created a lot of intellectual agents based on this, like sales consultant robot, like HR robot, like a tax law robot, and a lot of others which use client's data to answer his own employees or to perform some intellectual tasks like this. Yes, we have 3 agents in sales advisor robot, 1 communication agent, 1 knowledge agent, 1 merchandising agent, and they all communicate with some external sources of information like shop rules, like product information from some databases, and they answer questions of client using actual data of company. Everything like this is possible to create using our platform, using embeddings, and we can share you the ready-made projects similar like this. So we are now straight to the point. Yes, I think this is the main slide of the whole webinar that I want to present you. It's Sherpa AI. It's the new approach to development of user and software robots. So you see, we thought how we can use AI to improve the process of development. And there are two different possibilities. First one, our process script, it remains the same. Yes, the execution remains the same, but we want our platform to create a prototype of process script, process scenario, by typing in simple words what we want to achieve. Yes, this is one approach. And the other approach is we want user to type his goal, his task into robot. We have no any ready-made process script for it. We want robot to create this script automatically and execute it immediately. So no RPA developer ever sees what the script really looks like. Yes. So we just skip this process script phase. We go directly from task to execution. And each of these two approaches, it has both its pros, yes, and its cons. So for first approach, the pro is it is a controlled process still. Think of some banking robots, robots for insurance, robots for working with money, with some significant documents, yes, some legal documents. You definitely want to know what is inside this black box called ChatGPT. You have no right for error, yes, because any error inside process script will cost you money, will cost a lot of money to your clients. And in this way, we can enhance and speed up the robot discovery by just providing the prototype of the ready robot. But you, as the RPA developer, still have opportunity to examine this generated robot script, debug it, correct its errors, and only then pass it to execution. And also, though the generation part of this flow can use cloud to communicate with large language models, the execution part won't use any cloud at all. It can be used in closed environment, so we can freely use such process inside bank, inside insurance, and so on. But for simple tasks that happen in front of employers' eyes on their work desk, a lot of simple, repetitive office tasks, routine tasks that are too much to be automated all at once. A lot of them can really be solved processlessly. I'm sorry to creating this maybe new word, but so let me speak it again. We create processless robots, robots that do not follow process, robots that follow a simple user task description in plain English or in plain other language, because other languages are also supported. And then we execute it right away, but our employee, he has full control on what happens at his screen. And if robots starts doing something wrong, human has a right to stop this process or correct it. And these two approaches, they seem to be very different, but they do not contradict each other. They add to each other. So they create the complete picture of how AI-powered robotic automation should look like in a company in 2023. So for unattended automation, we definitely need a full control over what robot does and how it executes. And we use approach when we first create a robotic process with help of artificial intelligence, but then we execute it without artificial intelligence. We execute it as deterministic process. And for attended automation, which faces to particular human, we can automate his tasks right straight away, because there are a lot of no-code tools, but the most widely known and the most useful and the most handy no-code tool ever is our language, English language or other language, because this is how we speak, and this is how we can explain it to other human or to robot, and robot should understand our language and execute what we told him to do. So how this approach looks like in practices? We added generate process button into our designer, and once you click on it, you see this generate process window. It looks pretty much like a chat, yes, not Chat GPT, but some chat, yes, chat is our platform, and you can just type the task description, what you need to accomplish. You click on generate, and after some time, usually maybe 1 or 2 minutes, the prototype of what you typed, prototype of script is generated. Then you have an opportunity to evaluate it, to debug it, to correct it, or you can ask the process generator to correct it for you. So you can write down some additions to the script or some corrections to the script into the same chat. And then a new version of this process will be generated, the improved one. The second type of approach, when the process is executed right away, it will look quite similar. I will not show you this today. Today we will concentrate on process generation by text prompting, but I will show it you in one of the next our webinars, yes, one of the next sessions. So I think it's the right time to switch to the live demo, and then we will return to these slides. So we already have some test conversation. So here's our platform, yes. I just click on generate process button. If you do not see this button inside your Sherpa designer right now, because it is not activated. Yes, it can be activated in a special way, and you should ask us to activate it for you by completing a small form. You see this form in the chat window, and I will repeat this link and QR code for the form to request early access at the end of our webinar. So I have some prompts, some sample prompts prepared. I will just copy and paste them from my text document. This is to not to type them manually. So I just copied some test script, and I click on send. And as the process generation takes some time, let's just read aloud what we asked the robot to do. So we wrote him, show the file opening dialog to select an Excel file. For each row the selected file, create a Word document with the file name from the first column of the table and paste the contents from the second column of the table into this document, and then save the Word document. Repeat for each row of the table. So this is just quite a small task, and you see the process generation has already completed. By the way, you can vote, and when you will try this yourself, I ask you to vote. Yes, thumb up if everything is okay, and thumb down if you have some problems. And let's switch to the diagram and see what was generated. So we see that the robot offered us open file dialog, no file selected because we didn't specify it in our prompt. Then create a Word document, then assign value. You see there some expressions. So we have not only blocks, but we have field properties inside these blocks as well, at least main properties. So we have open document block, one more assign. You see 0 assigns, yes, range selection. Then we have loop. yes, for each number of rows in our Excel document that we open it. Yes, we extract ranges, we write them to the text document, we save document. At the end, after the loop, we close the document, to close the Excel spreadsheet. Yes, and we make sure that Excel is not running. So that's all. I think that this step is not really required because this block already does this. But if we keep this block, then no error happens. So that was quite a simple example. Let's see a little bit more interesting example, and we will also test how we can correct our initial prompt by adding additional corrections or notes to our robot. So I click on Create New Chat button, then I paste this task description. You see it is longer than the first. Yes. Okay, and I click on Generate. So let's read it while the process generation is running. So we ask robot to open the input context table XLSX from desktop and document template, which is called offer template, docx. Then we ask to read the input file XLSX line by line, and for each line, take from the corresponding columns, which are called recipient's name, company name, email. Then we should replace offer in the file offer template the wildcard. Oh, the process already finished, and I still haven't finished reading it. So I will not read the rest. So you can see it's some process which involves working with Word, working with Excel, and some loops, yes, involved. And we see that the process was generated. Yes, also it contains all the steps that we requested from it. So you see, here we have send email block because we asked to send email for each row of the Excel spreadsheet. But what we didn't mention how exactly should we send email. So as we didn't mention this, the generator chose send email block, and we see from its description that the email will be sent via POP3 protocol. So this is the standard emailing protocol. But what if we do not want it to use POP3 protocol, but instead we want to use it, for example, Outlook or Exchange server? We do have these blocks in separate palettes. So let's ask him to correct this already process by changing one type of block to another type of block. So what in the same chat, what I will ask him, I will say I want to send email using Outlook. So, and send this new message. This my new message, it caused next generation, and we will wait a bit when the generation is completed. And I hope that we will see that new script will contain this Outlook block, not standard POP3 emailing block. So let's wait a bit. It is finished. And you see, so we are now having sent Outlook email block, yes, so with other types of properties in it. And you see, we also saved our previous version, and you can compare previous version and new version side by side, and you see that the other parts of script, they remain the same. So nothing changed except one block. And this is very useful when you need to make some exact corrections to the generated process, generated diagram. So let's test this further. Let's make one more correction. Let's tell that we changed our mind actually. So we do not need Outlook. We want Exchange Server. Yes. So please use Exchange Server for sending email. Yes, instead of Outlook. Yes. So let's repeat generation with this new condition. Let's wait a bit. Okay, I think it is very close to finish. Yes, done. So we have a third version of our script, and now it uses send exchange email block instead of send Outlook. So you see, we created some start script, we made some corrections to it, then we made some new corrections to it, and we can evaluate each of the versions. We can compare these versions side by side, and we can leave the version that more satisfies our needs more. But still, this is quite a simple script. What if we want more difficult script, more complex script, more details in it? And I really can show you such thing. So you see, it's quite a long description, much longer than we tried before. I think I will not be able to read it completely before the generation really finishes, but I will try. Yes, just a little of corrections for it to look a bit more nice. Yes, a bit nicer. Okay. Yeah. So let it work. After all, you see there are a lot of details on what we need to do. We specified that we need to use getX or range activity. So we do not want a robot to choose the block to use itself. We wanted it to use some particular block in this process. We wanted it to use some particular variable names. Yes. Why it is important? Because when we are creating some process part from scratch, we are okay that robot will invent his own names of variables. But when we are creating new sub-process for the already existing process, we of course need that a new sub-process connects to previously existing processes, that it uses variables of the previously existing processes, that it knows the variable types, it knows some context of our project, and then it is very important that we can specify exact numbers of variables to use, specify exact activities, exact blocks to use, specify some exception handling, error handling, and with all this great detail and great detail description, the robot will create exactly the process we really want. Yes, and the process is ready. You see, it's much larger than our first examples. Of course, we can make it a bit nicer just by maybe moving blocks by hand. Yes, and also we have some auto connection features. Yes, so auto placement features that then we can use as well. Yes, to make it maybe change these arrows with each other to look a bit nicer. But anyway, the script is ready, and it has not only blocks for working with Word, with Excel, with file system, with loops, with conditions, but it also has some blocks for working with desktop and browser, like set text, click on text, get text, etc. Of course, our process generator do not see exact website or exact desktop application. So by now, it will not generate selector for these types of blocks. You should record the selector yourself. You should go into get text, click on three dots button, and click on capture and record the selector for this block. But the block itself with all its logics is already in place, so we can use it. We are thinking about how we can enhance the process generation with screen capture capability, so we can simultaneously talk about our script and show robot some buttons, some drop-down lists, some edit texts on screen, and make the script just from this type of recording. I think this will be presented in nearest future, but right now, from a plain text description, we are able to have this quite a complex script, and I think if you create it by hand, I think you will consume maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and when typing it just with plain text description, you will consume maybe 3 or 5 minutes. So this is speed up of the development process by several hundreds of persons. So let's return to our slides. I think we were here. Yes. So what are the benefits of AI-based RPA development? The benefits, I think, are obvious, but let's talk aloud about it. So first of all, we save time and money for the company on the development, implementation, and support of software robots. And our clients and our partners tell us that this type of automation or developer automation can increase productivity by at least 30%. And 30% is a lot because RPA development can cost a lot for complex projects. Also, we greatly reduce new RPA developers' education and onboarding time. So you see, there is a problem of a blank page when you create an empty project. You have some task in your head, and you really don't know where to start, which palettes to use, which blocks to use, how to plan your algorithm. And for junior RPA developers, this is especially a problem during education. So let Studio Designer, in our case, be your mentor. You just type what you need, and you get the first prototype of your solution. Then you can enhance and debug and grow, and this way the platform itself will teach you how to make better projects. Then when we go from script generation by AI to running script processless, yes, AI robots, what we actually do is we bring robots closer to humans. So citizenship developer is a great thing when non-professionals can start developing their own robots in their workplaces. But this type of automation can give a huge boost to citizenship developer, because now every analytics, yes, every data scientist, every top manager of some department who knows his business processes much better than RPA developer can create some prototype of robot, and professional RPA developers will enhance it, test it, debug it, and integrate it into orchestrator, into enterprise framework, etc. Also, there are a lot of routine, a lot of repetitive tasks in each company. And when we implement each new RPA task, we always consider the economy. So the robot costs X and we get Y, yes? So for a lot of repetitive tasks, this equation doesn't match. So the cost of creation of a new robot will be more than the economy we get from this robot or some reasonable period of time, say over 1 year. Yes, and then we make decision not to create such robot at all and move to some other robots which will give us much more FTE, yes, full-time equivalent. But what about other routine tasks, smaller tasks that happen at the workplaces of employees every day? So processless automation can really solve this part of a problem, because automation of such simple, such small but still time-consuming tasks can be done without creating manually creating RPA processes by hand, without consuming time of RPA developers. And now, with these two approaches combined, we really know why a robot should be in every workplace. Because let's speak frankly, right now, even in most advanced companies, software robots cover maybe not more than 10% of all routine, of all repetitive tasks of their workforce. And what we want to achieve, we should make this not 10 persons, but 70 persons, 80 persons, 90 persons. So we can do this by installing a robot on every workplace of every employer, so he can utilize both unattended automation, your orchestration, your competence, and also he will use his own personal small robots, small agents that will do tasks for him personally without creating any robotic process at all. So this is almost today's state. So one part of this technology we already developed and showed it to you. Of course, we will improve it. And the other part of technology is already in early beta inside our company, and I think we will show it in maybe 1 or 2 months. But what is the future of RPA industry at all? Yes, after these new technologies arrive. So we always talk about RPA as a technology which is creating virtual employers, yes, that help real employers to accomplish some goals. But to speak frankly, nowadays RPA tools do not allow to create a fully featured employee, yes, because they lack a lot of parts of a business process. The automation should be controlled, should be developed, and only some parts of real workflows inside company are covered with automation right now. To create a real virtual employee, we need to make him learn from verbal descriptions of tasks or from serial examples of actions and documents, not creating scripts, robotics processes by hand. He or she should adopt to changes in file formats and interfaces, because interfaces do change, websites change quite often. You need to record new selectors for a changed website. You need to change your recognition template if the file formats or document formats change. And real virtual employers, they should adopt to this change, not requiring additional time from RPA developer. Virtual employers should work towards goals, not tasks. So they really should discover how to achieve this or that goal themselves. So they should outline the number of tasks needed to accomplish this or that goal based off the knowledge base of the company, of the previous history of successful operations, on some internet research, some internal documents, and so on. They should plan their own ways to achieve goals. And as every path can lead either to success or to failure, and both are okay, just we need to learn from our failures and improve next time. To fail one time is okay, to fail second time on the same task is not okay. So our real virtual employees, they should learn from their failures, they should draw conclusions, they should correct mistakes, then avoid them and repeat and achieve success. So this will be the nearest, I hope, future of RPA, that a lot of vendors and we, of course, yes, are trying to make much closer future. So if you want to test smart assistants I showed you today, and if you want to test the process generation by text description, just scan this QR code, or I will provide you with the quick link right now because I have it prepared for you here. Yes, I will put it into chat. You can copy it from chat, or you can scan the QR code from here, and you will see a small form, just several fields. Please fill them, and once you fill them, we will send you. I hope it will be today. Yes, today we will send you downloading link for our platform. If it is not installed yet, we will send you a license key so you can activate it, and we will send you instructions on how you can try and test script generation right now. So we are looking forward your feedback. Please provide this feedback. After each generation, there are thumb up and thumb down icons, and if you click thumb down, you're asked for very small and very short description of what was wrong. Yes, so we can correct it, and your next generation will be more effective. Yes. Please use this voting functionality, and it will help us improve this feature over time. But as our closed focus group showed, I think that it is already quite mature and quite useful. So feel free to test yourself and share us your opinion. That's all.